Thanks, Brad. I'm sure we'll all miss seeing the moon in the night sky. And finally, an upside-down house can now be seen in the River Clyde. The public art piece responds to and tracks the rising sea levels in Glasgow. Let's take a closer look.
One of the main concepts behind our idea is to convey the rate that the sea levels are rising at, and by doing this we put a house underwater, the base of it starting at sea level, and as years go on it will become more and more underwater as the sea levels rise.
Our sculpture is located in the Glasgow River Clyde because it will be affected by the rising sea levels. Glasgow Airport could be underwater by 2050 and Patrick and Govan submerged. We have plans to place more houses in other cities at risk, like London, Bristol, New York, Bruges and Mumbai. We're planning to place them in cities so the severity of the situation can be shown to the largest audience. The G9 Summit also collaborated with a scientist to make their piece, who is here now today to tell us more about the reason why the sea level is rising.
My name is Professor Sooty, and I'm here today to basically educate everyone on the real reason for the water and the sea level rising. Number 1, thermal expansion. This is when the water is heating up. Number 2, melting of land ice. Big issue. Number 3 is the changes of the amount of water that is stored on land, which, as we know, is a lot. From my professional calculations, the G9 Summit Group have done really well in educating the world and their country on the real issues going on.
And probably the biggest obstacle we faced during making this project was finding the right material to build the house from, and finding the right labor force that was willing to dive and build the house. We luckily find a good team. We had a tremendous success.
First public engagement, we organised boat tours to travel to and around the sculpture, where people could get off the boat, stand on the inverted base of the house and take photos of themselves to post on social media, also to help spread awareness. All the money that was raised from these tours went directly to environmental organisations to help fund the slowing down of climate change. As the sea levels rose and the house became submerged, we then started to offer diving tours, which have proven to be very popular.
The materials that we used to build this artwork were more organic, such as rock and stone. Also better for the sea life because they're used to this, they're familiar with this environment. I speak for the whole collective when I say that no sea life, no sea creatures were harmed in the making of this public art piece. I mean, see it for yourself. Over to you, Fish.
Yeah, I was involved in the project. I thought it was great. The scientists were really cool, the artists were really nice, and the sculpture looks really, really good. It's like an obstacle course to swim through. And to be honest, the rising sea levels is a plus for me, you know. More water to swim in. Yeah, the tourists are pretty cool as well. They drop us food in the water, so, you know, it's a win-win for me.
We also have some interviews with the public with their opinions on the piece.
Yeah man, so like I was just walking like along the Clyde, yeah, and then I like saw this like house underwater. Like I could see the base of it and I'm like, gnarly, do you know what I mean? So like I go over because I'm like personally, like I would label myself as like an eco warrior, do you know what I mean? So then I just went over, man, yeah man, like and I was like, this is amazing. Like this guy started explaining to me like what it meant, and I was thinking, that's so good, like we need to show how the sea levels are rising, do you know? Yeah, I just thought it was gnarly because I think like I'm not wanting to be living in the ocean.
I think everything we see here is a part of a bigger conspiracy theory. They just want to raise the sea level so they can spread 5G tower all over the place.
Thanks, Karen, and sign me up for one of those diving tours. Now remember, we're all going to die if we don't turn our thinking around and stop climate change. Have a good night.
Excuse me, I need to talk to the manager, please.
Bloody pain in the arse.